thank you so much for joining me today. I am so very excited to have you here. Welcome to my bookshelves. I feel like we've not really ever been over here. I don't think I've ever gone through and showed you all the books that I have or anything like that. But today I am going to show you all of the books that I have on my physical TBR. I do have a lot of books over here that I have not read. I will be so honest with that. I do want to get all of these read. So that's what we're doing. I'm going to show you every single book that I have on my physical TBR going into 2026. I'm going to start at the bottom because that's pretty much where majority of my TBR lies. For the most part, the stuff at the top I have pretty much read all of, but the bottom is where I'm lacking. So we'll start there. I'm going to show you what all I've got, go through every book that I have on my shelf, what's on my TBR and what's not, and hopefully we can get to reading them, because I need to do that. I need to do that. Also, maybe we can see if we can count while we're at it, 'cause I don't actually know how many physical books I have on my TBR. That's funny, I just realized how atrociously crooked this tripod is, but that's okay. I am right here trying to see what I can do. I'm gonna try my best to make this look good. So obviously I have my entire Throne of Glass series right here. I am very eager to read this, get this one knocked out. I don't know when I'm gonna be reading it. It's probably not gonna be anytime soon just because it is such a massive series, but I do plan on getting this done. I have Murder Your Employer, The Bone Season, and then I have Fourth Wing. And then over here, I do have another copy of Fourth Wing. Don't judge me. I figured that with the new Fourth Wing, the sprayed edges, whatever, I thought that it was going to be like this thing that's super highly sought after, nobody was going to be able to get. Not the case. Everybody was able to get that, so not as cool as I thought, but I have another copy, the not original, but the second print of Fourth Wing. I have Iron Flame, and then I believe this one's like Onyx Storm. Yeah, so this is the other one, third one. And then I also have the Crescent City series, and then Survive the Night by Riley Sager. I accidentally lied. I have a light set up because it's so dark over here. I don't want to swap back and forth between the shelves, so we are just gonna go straight up the shelf, and then I'll re-angle the light so that way we can actually see the shelf over there. I do have all of my Book of the Month books ordered kind of over here on what I have read, and then over here is stuff that I have not read. So I have Count My Lies, The Favorites, God of the Woods, Jane and Dan at the End of the World, The Three Lives of Kate Kay, The Spectacular, Beautiful Ugly, Dinner for Vampires, Flicker in the Dark, Discontent, The Stranger Upstairs, Next to Heaven, The Dagger and the Flame, and then these are all the books that I have read on here. Thistlefoot is kind of a DNF. I'm not fully DNF'd it, but kind of a soft to mid-ground DNF. But like I said, again, all of the ones up here at the front are ones that I have read, and then just over there have not. How fun, I can actually be back now. I don't think these I have really any order of what I have read. It might take me a second to just go through and just be sure that I have not read them. But for the most part, I just kind of have everything jumbled up. The only thing that I really tried to separate was just Book of the Month books, and then I wanted to do all of my Intense Fantasy series at the very bottom. But this stuff, it's all just kind of random. Up above that, we have some romance. There are some sections that I have divided off for certain things, but you'll see most of it's just kind of what looks good where it does. So over here, we have the Personal Librarian, the Polish Girl, the Tattooist of Auschwitz. I have the Handmaid's Tale and the Testaments. And then I have read those. I have False Witness and Girl Forgotten. I have read pieces of her. I have For the Wolf, House of Salt and Sorrow, A Good Marriage. I don't think I've read that one. I could be so wrong, but I don't think that I have. Flowers for Algernon. Read this one, this one. I have The Stranger in the Lifeboat, Crossroads, Murder in the Family, 1984, A Man Called Ove, Road to Dalton, and Middlemarch. So that's all that I have not read, I think, on this shelf. Moving up to romance. Now we are moving on to my romance-ish shelf. These are all just kind of pretty books, like the colorful pink books and stuff. I like to keep all those over here. These are kind of the main things you see. Your eye kind of hits about right here whenever you're looking at the shelves. That's why I like to put all these right here. For unread, I have Things We Never Got Over, Things We Hide from the Light, Things We Left Behind. I've read this one. We have Life's Too Short, Yours Truly, The Happy Ever After Playlist, Hello Stranger, The Bodyguard, While We Were Young, Love in Other Words, Betting on You, The Summer of Christmases, The House in the Cerulean Sea, and Trust. I've not read very many from that shelf, but usually from the shelf I pick the books that I have read and kind of disperse them elsewhere. This is usually the shelf that things get moved around on the most. One of the shelves. Now for one of my favorites. The tripod does not go as high as I need it to, so I'm kind of crouching, kind of my knees hurting. See if I can angle it like this a little bit, but this is my pretty shelf. I typically like this one the best. I have another one over here that I also really like, but this one I really do enjoy. I have my ACOTAR series over here, all of my Colleen Hoover books. I just recently read those, and then I have read both of these. The only ones on this shelf that I have not read are all of the Ali Hazelwood books. So I have Love on the Brain, Love Theoretically, and then The Love Hypothesis. And then over here I have not read Funny Story or Great Big Beautiful Life by Emily Henry. On this shelf I have read everything on here except for the Magnolia Park series. That's the only series or book up there that I have not read. And then I do have some books over there behind me if you would have been with me, but again, those are all books I have read. So I have all of the rest of the other Lauren Allen books, and then I have the Good Girls Guide to Murder series over there. Again, I was trying to do from the bottom up, but it has proved to be easier to do the bottom than it is the top, so we'll just go ahead and start there. Again, same thing over here. I do keep all of my books that I have read on the top shelves. I don't know why, I just tend to do that. So I have read all of these and everything over here, plus this one in the middle. This did used to be really nice and organized, and I did really like this shelf, but I did a book haul and now I have a little bit too many books and I can't fit them all over there. So we just kind of had to pile everything right here. Then the only ones that I have not read on this shelf are over here. So I have the Moonfall series, The Starless Crown, The Cradle of Ice, and A Dragon of Black Ice, and Immortal Dark. So these I have not read on here, but again, everything else on either side of them I have read. This next shelf is actually my favorite shelf that I have on here. One of my favorite shelves. It's probably like one of 3 favorites. I really do like this one. I have read my Ready Player One. I have not read Orlando. My brother did get me that one for Christmas. I have not read the Bell Jar, Sunset Years, The Glutton, Prince Harry, or The Bee Sting. And then these 2 books over here, I just have a little, it's a little wallet, so it's not a book, I can't read it. And then I also have Mitch Albom's Stranger in the Lifeboat. Said that I have that one over there. This is the Polish copy that Nick got me, so I obviously cannot read this one because it's not in English, and I can't read anything that's not in English. Over here we have my Illumicrate shelf. I'm going to have to pull every single one of these off so I can figure out which one it is, because I don't know off the top of my head. I'm actually going to move this slightly so that way my big old head's not just in the way. I have started Mad Woman. I've read a little bit of it, but I have not finished. I feel like I've read almost all of it. I don't even know what I'm using as a bookmark. I'm using a little camera strap. I'm actually just gonna use the bookmark. I'm on chapter 8. Is this upside down? I put the book in upside down. So, no wonder I look like I'm almost through it, but I'm totally not. I was gonna say, I didn't think I was. I'm just gonna fix that really quick. I don't really have any reason why I stopped reading this one. I was reading this a lot at work for my lunch break, and I don't think I disliked it. It was just kind of slow, I guess, for what I was needing. I wasn't really connecting with it, and it was fine, and I just kind of set it down and was reading other things, and I just have not gotten back to it. So, yeah, that's on this shelf. And again, I was not planning on putting anything over here that wasn't Book of the Month, but I did run out of my space for Book of the Month stuff, so I did have to move a couple over here. Then I have my Alive Day, that's another Book of the Month pick. I have You Were Meant to Be Human, The Staircase in the Woods, Void Walker. This is actually a really cool cover. I really like her hair. The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy. This is so cool. This is just a clear plastic dust jacket, and I knew that this was like that, but oh my gosh. If we're gonna do a dust jacket, this is how we need to do a dust jacket. We just need to do a clear plastic. Look at this. That's the front of the book. And then you take the dust jacket off. That's crazy. The Prince Without Sorrow, little green book. Captana, something like that. The Raven Scholar, and then A Song of Legends Lost. This one's really cool too. So these 2 are horror, and then these are all the Illumicrates, so they're just the fantasy ones. And then over here I have the romance ones. These are all really cute, but I do really like the way that they do the fantasy covers the best. I think that those look the best personally. I have When I Picture You. I think this one's my favorite one that they did, but also orange is like my favorite color. The Build a Better Boyfriend Project, Love is a War Song, Any Trope But You, Flirting Lessons, And then the last one that I have on there is fan service. So pretty much all of these are on my physical TBR because I have not touched a single one of them. I've not read any of the Illumicrate books that I've gotten yet, which is kind of sad and not very good of me, but it is what it is, I'm being honest. Then we are moving on to my kind of hodgepodge books, but this one's not as bad as down below. So I have my Stephen King books over here. I have read Pet Sematary, but I have not read Fairy Tale, It, or Billy Summers. I did start It, I'm like 77 pages in. I just didn't finish it. It was getting a little bit long for me and I was kind of getting slumped, so I figured I'd pick something else. And then I have not read Ring or A Novel Christmas yet, but I have read these four. Now my least favorite shelf. Alright, I did say that this one was my least favorite shelf, and it's simply just because I have so many random books on here that are not really pretty altogether. I don't really care for that, but I do have to have a place to put them, so here's where I chose. I have not read The Cut, Count My Lies. This one's a duplicate. I did already say that I have that one over there. We talked about this whenever I did my book outlet unboxing. I accidentally purchased that book, but I already had it, unfortunately, so I have two of them. We're not going to count them twice. The Resistors, Raft of Stars. I have read that. I've not read Trouble in Paradise. I've read this one. We have The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. The Adventures of Amina al-Sarafi. I've read these two. These two are just old books that I have from like elementary school or whatever. So I have read them. I have not read Chicken Soup for the Military Wives' Souls, and I have not read Total Forgiveness, but those are just kind of books that I don't really plan on reading. It's more just I have them because I have them. Like, you know, everybody has those nonfiction books that they don't really plan on reading. They just have them because somebody gave them to them. Kind of like these. Have read this. I have not read After You. I honestly don't know if I am. I kind of am wishy-washy on that one. A Cigarette Lit Backwards. This Present Darkness. Again, one of those that I'm not super sure if I plan on reading. And then Inside Scientology, because that stuff's fascinating. I want to know what Scientologists believe. And now moving on to my last shelf, I have read most of these in the recent month, so I don't really have that many on here that I do need to knock out. I have another copy of the After series. For whatever reason, my copy has like a misprint on After We Collided, and I was really getting tired of it because the pages fall out every single time I try to read it, so I figured I would just get another copy of the series so that way I could actually have a nice one. But these, I don't like these. I have not read Deep Cuts. I did just get this one. And then I have The Ministry of Time. I don't know why I accidentally have that one placed that way, but I do. And I have read these four. And then the only ones on the shelf that I need to read are Shatter Me. I need to read the Scythe series. And then I have not read The Final Gambit or Brothers Hawthorne. I was under the impression that Brothers Hawthorne was book 4 of the series, but I don't actually know if that's correct or not. I feel like I've seen it is a brand new series, but just kind of continuing off of the original trilogy. I don't really know. Somebody let me know what this one is, what it's for. I just, again, assumed that it was book 4 and then I needed to get it, but now I'm not so sure. Also, I didn't say anything. This is where I keep my bookmarks, and that's also where I keep my camera whenever I don't have it on the tripod, so that's why I have a little gap right there. 122 books is what I counted that I have on my physical TBR. So that's 122 books that I need to get knocked out as soon as I can. I very much would like to have bookshelves full of books that I have read. I do feel guilty having this many books that I have not touched at all. A little bit unfortunate. Will I get to them all at some point? Yes, of course, absolutely. But for right now, we are chipping away slowly, and then I'm just going to read as many books as I can physically for a while. I might do something about clearing out my Kindle Unlimited and then put that on pause for a little bit. That way I can not have to pay for that for a little bit and just start reading all the books that I do have, because I need to do that. I need to prioritize reading the books that I do have over anything on my Kindle, which I have been doing that recently, but I need to do a better job. But let me know which of these books on my physical TBR I need to read first. Let me know which ones I need to prioritize, which ones are absolutely great, and then I do need to start to get me in the mood to get all of these finished up. Also, let me know how many and what books you have on your physical TBR. But that's it. That's all I got for you. Thank you so much for joining me today. I am so very excited to have you here, and I hopefully will get to see you in the next one tomorrow. See ya!